Okay, what we'll do is that we will first do the prayers, mantra and so forth, foundational good qualities. After this, then we will finish the last part of it. Before that, we will also read the composition Staircase to Emptiness. And this Staircase to Emptiness, this is what I compiled many years ago on the basis of the retreat on bodhicitta which we did, I think about like 12 years ago. And okay, we'll read this, and then if you find it useful I would say that if you learn emptiness, then at least for the first 1 year or 2 years, this will be very helpful as the meditation manual. This will be very analytical meditation manual. This will be very helpful. You can use that. Once the knowledge of emptiness becomes very extensive and comprehensive, extensive, fast, then it's not necessary that you have to follow this trend which I wrote there. You can do in whatever way is more suitable to you. Okay, so with this and then followed by the completion of the text, and then we'll do the text, and once that is done, as when the completion text is done, if Magali, the Kavasin, then the Stephanie, the Patricia, if you have to go to prepare for lunch for us, then you can leave at that point. I know that is a big sacrifice from your side, helping us. Thank you so much. And okay, so this is.
It can be done tomorrow.
Which one?
It will be more free tomorrow. Patricia, the cook, all the staff for the cooking.
Okay, tomorrow.
They will be free tomorrow morning. After the talk, it could be done.
Because the text is going to complete it today.
The transmission of the text.
A transmission. Then some people are leaving today.
Oh, yes, but for yes. Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. Right. Okay, good. Okay, the first. Sanje joda zoge jonamla chanjo bardo dane gyapsu che dage jinso kebe chonam dola benjir sanje jobare sho. Okay, just visualize Buddha's bodhisattvas in a space in front of us, as so loving, caring and embracing, and your two parents. And coming to Kalachakra, let us make a new commitment that henceforth I will try to make up my relationship with my mother, father, whatever. If there is a little bit of with the parents, if there is issue, let's make a new commitment that I'm going to revolutionize my thinking. I'm going to change my thinking to see things more broadly, not from the very conventional family way of thinking, rather from very broadly, keeping in mind your childhood, since the birth, when you are so vulnerable, keeping all these, the big thing in as a framework. From that point of view, I'm going to see things, and being a part of Kalachakra Center, I will show myself as there's a difference within me. With respect to my relationship with my mother, with my parents. Okay, this is the new thought we're going to cultivate. Even if you're able to do it now, when you actually go home, again things may erupt as earlier, but at least if you can make the commitment now, this is so precious. And imagine that you are doing this and inspiring all the beings to take refuge, to generate bodhicitta and so forth, With this mind, let us say this together. Sanje Joda Zoge Jonam La Janjo Pado Dane Yazu Je Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Tola Benjir Sanje Jubare Sho Sanje Joda Zoge Jonam La Janjo Pado Dane Yazu Dage Jinso Kebe Sonam Ge Tola Benjir Sanje Jubare Sho. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Okay, the foundation of all good qualities, page 42. Foundation of good qualities, the foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the priest of freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After that, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me to always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate the strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I've fallen into the sea of samsara, so for all mother migratory beings. Please bless me to see this trained in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility to free migratory beings. Even if I've developed Bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distraction to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate clearly within my mind stream the unified path will come about, especially inside. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firm convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows in places like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with a great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice their long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all out any inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajratara. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Rajapani, destroyer who holds the demons without exception, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages, land of snows, Lobsang top at your feet and make prostrations. Shabla Sovade Milmazavete Jejeres Temekembe Ombo Jambe ge zo ka ba lo sa ta be sha la so wa de me za wa te je re se che me ken be om bo ja be yam ka je ke be zu ke zo ka ba lo sa cha be sha la so wa de. Okay, page 297 in English. Handout. Staircase to emptiness. This is just for us to get an idea as to how to meditate on emptiness. Okay, first is just a general presentation, and then when it comes to the question answer session, then this is where the meditation begins. By the way, I'll let you know. Okay, but let's read this together. The staircase to emptiness, meditation, ultimate reality. The greatest gift of the compassionate Buddha Shakyamuni to all beings on the world is twofold: the wisdom of emptiness and the unconditional love of bodhicitta. The infinitely numerous ill experiences that we go through in our lives, such as dissatisfaction, fears, anxiety, depression, anguish, lamentation, grief, and so forth, although they appear to be diverse, can all be subsumed under the category of fear. Just as it requires the coming together of two hands for the sound of a clap to be produced, similarly all our fears and pains too are created by depending on two factors, external factors and internal factors, which are akin to the two hands. Just as both hands are required for the sound of a clap to arise, just so both the internal and external factors are necessary for creating fears in us. The external factors in the form of a bully or any other obstacles, and the internal factor of the self-referential ego, which is nothing but the combination of self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude. In order to stop the sound of a clap, either of the hands must be removed. Likewise, to stop all our miseries and pains, we have to either remove the external factors or the internal factors. The reality is that there are no means by which we can completely stop all the external factors that disturb us. For example, when one is by oneself, one feels lonely. When one is surrounded by others, one feels deprived of privacy. These are the only two possible external options that can exist in this situation, and both options create unhappiness in the individual. If one really wants to be freed of pain, then the only choice left to remove is the internal factor symbolized by the other hand. This will invariably lead us to ask two questions. What is the internal factor, and how can I get rid of the internal factor for good? From what we are going to learn here, the internal factor is a very specialized type of ignorance, also referred to as the self-grasping ignorance, or the ignorance that grasps into existence. This ignorance propels all phenomena to appear as objectively real, while in reality all phenomena exist simply through the projection of one's own mind. This can be better understood through the knowledge of how a person who is dreaming sees the entire contents of their dream as existing totally independent of their mind, for example, as objectively real, while in reality the dream contents exist only from the subject, which in this case is a dreaming mind. Seeing what is projected by the subjective mind as being objectively real is known as the self-grasping ignorance, and it is this ignorance which is responsible for the nightmares in our dreams. This is akin to an experience of watching a movie that is projected on the screen. While we are looking at the movie on the screen, it is actually being projected by the movie projector, which lies on the opposite side of the screen. The movie on the screen resembles the object, and the projector resembles the subjective mind. In reality, the movie is totally empty from the screen. Likewise, everything that appears to us like a movie, it is all subjectively existent and totally empty from the object. This is also known as emptiness or the ultimate truth. Whether one is believer or non-believer, educated or uneducated, rich or poor, high or low, men or women, every single being yearns for complete freedom from fear and wishes to attain maximum joy. Contemplate on this to see for yourself how true it is that each one of us embodies the desire to get away from the fears of life, such as sickness, aging, death of near dear ones, etc. If we really want to be fearless and wish to counteract our fears completely, then the best possible means to do so that exists in this entire universe is the wisdom of emptiness. That is, seeing the interdependent nature of all phenomena. Other means do exist, but the supreme elixir that dispels all fears is the wisdom of emptiness. If one gets even a glimpse or an inkling of emptiness, it will literally make one feel mentally and physiologically extremely peaceful and calm, thus giving one a profound conviction and comfort that I'm neither hopeless nor is my life worthless. I have finally found the answer to all my grief. Bodhisattva Aryadeva clearly indicated in this treatise 400 verses on the middle way. Those with less merit will not even have a doubt in this Dharma of ultimate reality. Should any inquiry ever arise in someone, it will shatter samsara into pieces. Therefore, those who encounter the teachings on emptiness are indeed very fortunate. Even more meritorious are those who actually reflect and meditate on the efficacy of the wisdom of emptiness alongside their learning about it. The following is a very simple step-by-step outline for meditation on the wisdom of emptiness, which practically anyone can do. Engaging in this practice helps to leave a special and powerful imprint in the mind and helps one to become calmer when confronted with day-to-day experiences of sadness, agitation, and so forth, not to mention the fact that it leaves a very meaningful predisposition in one's mind towards becoming consistently fearless and achieving full awakening. The following passages will be very helpful in gaining some understanding of emptiness, and these passages are cherished by all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Acquaint yourself well with the 4 essentials to discern emptiness, as given below with special emphasis on the first essential identifying the object of negation. Never mind if one is not familiar with the concept of the object of negation as yet. I suggest you to still go through the section or the sequence of the meditations on emptiness right below. The 4 essentials to discern emptiness. Essential of identifying the object of negation, that is the belief in the existence of the object from its own side, objectively existent object. Number 2, the essential of understanding the emptiness of objects being one with its parts. The essential of understanding the emptiness of the objects being different from its parts. The essential of understanding the pervasion that anything which is empty of being one with its parts and different from its parts should be empty of objective existence and only subjectively existent. That is, for an object to exist from its own side, it has to be either one with its parts or different from its parts. Sequence of the meditation emptiness. Assemble. Okay, this is assemble. Meditation on the emptiness of an object, for example, like flower. Meditation on the emptiness of yourself. Meditation on the emptiness of your mind. Inanimate objects such as a flower, as well as animate objects such as a person or oneself, exist in space with directional parts, as well as in time with temporal parts, whereas the mind exists only in time, having temporal parts. The flower of one's body consists of millions of atoms existing in different directions, such as east, west, north, south, northeast, northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest, up and down, whereas those things that exist in time, such as the mind, do not have directional parts in space. Since the mind is immaterial, it is rather constituted of temporal parts. For example, if you think about your mind today, today's mind exists all over the duration of a day with 24 hours, and hence today's mind exists in 24 segments of time that are referred to as 24 temporal segments. The first of 24 temporal segments further consists of 60 temporal segments because each hour is made up of 60 minutes. We can go on like this ad infinitum. Now the meditation emptiness of the object, let's say the flower. Visualize a very beautiful flower, an appealing image of a flower in your mind, of the size 1 inch by 1 inch, 200 dpi in resolution. There's a picture is made of 200 into 200 dots per inch, a total of 40,000 dots. And this image is greatly enlarged into a gigantic picture, 20 feet by 20 feet in size. The developer can be creative to make the 40,000 dots, each in the form of demons' faces. The same analytical meditation can be extended to any other object such as this picture. So let's see, 100%, the small child, then 200%, bigger, 400%, then the what is that, 800%, just the dots. Question 1. From a distance, what do you see? the answer 1, a picture. Okay, we'll read this together. Answer 1, a picture of very beautiful, tender flower. Okay, instead of the person, the child, let's say a flower. Question number 2, what is your mental reaction towards this picture of the flower? Answer 2, it is so appealing. So the note. Technically, your mind is pulled by the object, thinking that the picture is there from the screen. Here we can see the dynamic relationship between the ignorance grasping true or objective existence and all other afflictions such as attachment and aversion, and how they are all triggered by this ignorance. Seeing the picture as existing from the screen is the ignorance viewing objective reality. Your mind being pulled towards the object picture is the afflictive emotion of attachment. If presented with an ugly image, your mind will be repulsed by the picture, and there is the afflictive emotion of aversion. As mentioned before, all afflictions are either inclined towards the nature of attachment or towards the nature of aversion. Those which are not inclined to either are neutral, but still are the nature of ignorance. Okay, question number 3. Does the picture of the flower exist or not? Be very sure of your answer. Answer 3. It does exist. It is there on the screen. It is such an attractive picture. I would like to see it more closely. Question 4. Go up to the screen. What happens to the picture of the flower now? Answer 4. The picture of the flower disappears. Question 5. What happens to the appealing feeling that arose in you earlier? Answer 5. It also disappears. Instead, aversion arises upon seeing the 40,000 pictures of demons' faces. Okay, the note. This indicates how all our afflictive emotions, such as attachment and anger, are triggered by a mental perception, which is always under the influence of the ignorance, grasping of the objective or true existence. Except for the wisdom having a non-dual experience of emptiness, likewise it shows all of our afflictions will come to a cease if this ignorance is eliminated, just as attachment to the flower stops as soon as the flower disappears upon closer analysis. Question 6. Ask the same question again. Does the picture of the flower exist or not? If it does, where is it now? On the screen? Inside your eyes? Or somewhere in between? Yes, it does exist, though I'm no longer sure where it really is. Earlier I thought it was on the screen, but now I've come close to the screen, and to my amazement, it is not there. As Arjuna said in Precious Garland, if the mirage were to be water, why is it not seen as water by those close to the mirage? That picture of the flower does not exist from the screen, because if it did, then I should be able to see it now from up close. Likewise, it does not exist inside my eyes, as I'm not looking at my eyes for the picture. It makes no sense either to say that it exists in between the screen and the eyes. Question 7. Why have you come close to the screen in search of what? Answer 7. I came closer to the screen to look at the flower more clearly. Rephrasing the same response in more technical terms, you came closer to the screen to look for an objectively existent picture of the flower, as opposed to a merely mentally imputed picture of the flower. By doing so, you are looking for something ultimate, that is something more than just what your perception creates. If you do find something to exist in that way, then that should be the ultimate reality of the picture of the flower. Question number 8. What did you find upon coming closer to the screen? Answered 8. I did not find anything amidst the 40,000 dots of demons' faces. They are all separated by a wide distance, as Arjuna cautioned in Fundamental Wisdom of the Middle Way. That which dependent originates is posited to be empty of independent existence. That being dependent designated, this is the middle way. The picture of the flower disappears. It is not there. The screen is empty of the picture of the flower. The disappearance of the picture of the flower is found. That is, absence or emptiness of the flower is found. On the screen, you will see two things: the 40,000 dots that are in the form of the faces of demons, and the emptiness of the flower. While the two, like the two sides of the same coin, are the same entity, they are different isolates. Of the two isolates, for the specific purpose of meditation on emptiness, simply pick up the isolate of the emptiness of the flower. The disappearance of the flower, pay no attention to the isolate of the dots. of the two isolates by using the appearance of the first isolate, which is the 40,000 dots of demons faces. Shift your focus onto the isolate of the disappearance of the flower, which is also referred to as the emptiness of the flower. Emptiness of the flower should be seen as a non-affirming negative phenomena instead of an affirming negative or a positive phenomena. If your mind shifts its attention to and remain focused on seeing the 40,000 dots of the demons faces, then you are not meditating on emptiness, since both of them are positive phenomena, and correct meditation on emptiness is done only by focusing on non-affirming negative isolate. This is a very important point which cannot be emphasized enough. It is only by meditating correctly on emptiness, as mentioned here, that our self-grasping ignorance can be uprooted and liberation from samsara will thus be possible. Maintaining one's focus on the mere absence of the flower in the form of a non-affirming negative is really very challenging for ordinary beings who are not used to this experience for even the shortest duration of time, let alone for an extended period of time. This is because our mind is completely addicted to seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, etc., things in the form of a positive or affirming negative phenomenon. To put it simply, in order to bring the correct isolate to emptiness of your mind, ask these two questions. What are you seeing now? Answer, I'm seeing the 40,000 dots, each in the form of demons' faces. Question, where's the flower? It disappears, it is empty. Exactly in the moment that this answer comes to you, the isolated emptiness of the flower is also appearing to your mind. In order to habituate and familiarize our mind so that it retains its focus on the emptiness of the flower in the form of a non-affirming negative phenomena, continue to ask the above two questions over and over again. Do so as soon as the 40,000 dots in the form of demons' faces start to appear to your mind and you lose the appearance of the emptiness of the flower. This will slowly help you to acquire a stable experience of emptiness. Over time, you will be able to obtain and hold the experience of emptiness for longer duration. This is an extremely precious practice for awakening us from the deceptive dream of the fears of samsara. Otherwise, no matter what one does, it is like doing good things and bad things in a dream, while misapprehending those actions as real and not as a dream. This is how we are slaves to the deception of the self-grasping ignorance, which imposes itself as real and sways us. Being under the sway of the deception of ignorance constantly agitates our mind, moving here and there. This is also referred to as the involuntary pull and push of the mind, which is nothing but the loss of freedom. This loss of freedom causes all our miseries, and this is what is called samsara. Therefore, cultivating precise and sustained experience of emptiness is so precious. Abiding the experience of emptiness as mentioned above for a while. Question 9. Now moving away from the screen while continuing to look at the screen, what appears to your eyes when you are at the same distance from the screen as you initially started out with? Answer 9. The picture of the flower returns. This is the infallible dependent origination. Only the picture of the flower appears and not that of a tree or a house. Every phenomena, while lacking the objective reality, still exists and functions infallibly, but merely on the conventional level, through dependent origination. In this case, the picture of the flower arises by dependence on various factors such as the dots, the space in between the dots, the light, the screen, and the perceiving mind. This should generate in us a deep conviction in the efficacy of dependent origination, which permeates all phenomena, including the law of karma. While everything exists, it never exists on the ultimate level, but only on the conventional level. Our chronic ignorance always drives us to misperceive and believe that things do exist on the ultimate level. This understanding of the infallible dependent origination does not bring the phenomenal world from the ultimate level to the conventional level. It has always been on the conventional level since beginningless time and never on the ultimate level. This understanding allows our mind to shake off its chronic ignorant belief and makes us realize that everything operates only on the subjective level. Question 10. As you keep going towards and away from the screen again and again, what is happening to the perception of your eyes? Answer 10. The perception keeps on changing from that of the picture to the flower to the emptiness of the picture of the flower. Remark 1a. This indicates that the same object on the screen shows two faces or two aspects. While nothing changes at all from the object side on the screen, your perception of the object keeps changing. This indicates the fact that what you see on the screen as a picture of the flower is nothing other than just your own perception. Perception means something which is purely mental, and hence it is totally subjective. Remark 1b. Just as a ghost in a dream does not exist in reality from its own side, and thus is a dream ghost, just so the picture of the flower is merely a mental projection and is only subjectively existent. Conversely, it is said to be empty of objective existence and thus dream-like or illusion-like. Abide in this experience of the emptiness for a while. Remark 2. When you look at it very closely, what you see of the same object on the screen, that is the emptiness of the picture of the flower, is the face of the ultimate reality of the picture of the flower. What you see as the picture of the flower from a distance is the face of the subjective, conventional reality of the picture of the flower. These are two truths of the same object. Every phenomenon necessarily possesses these two truths or realities, and emptiness is no exception. Emptiness also possesses two truths. Meditation on the emptiness of yourself. Okay, with this, emptiness of the flower is done. Now, apply this to the self. So, it says, in a similar manner, meditate on the emptiness of yourself. Keep in mind the following analogies. Okay, now, in a synopsis for me explained, keep in mind the following analogies. The picture of the beautiful, tender flower is analogous to yourself. The 40,000 dots of demons' faces are analogous to the atoms or the 6 elements, earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness, or the 5 aggregates, form, fading, discrimination, composite factors, and mental consciousness that constitute you. Point number 3. Emptiness of flower is analogous to the fact that there is no singular independent entity called self, which can be found as objectively existent upon ultimate analysis. The self is merely designated on the basis of the parts, such as the atoms or the 5 aggregates or the 6 elements. There is no self which is found as either being one with its parts or different from its parts. Essential number 2 and essential number 3 to discern emptiness. Abide for some time in the experience of the emptiness of self. This meditation on emptiness is precious beyond words. Number 3, meditation on emptiness of your mind. In a similar manner, meditate on the emptiness of your mind. Keep in mind the following analogies. The picture of the beautiful, tender flower is analogous to your mind. The 40,000 dots of demons' faces are analogous to the temporal moments of the mind, which constitute the whole mind, in relation to the emptiness of your mind. The emptiness of the flower is analogous to the fact that upon analysis, there is no independent moment of mental experience which can be found as objectively existent. For meditating on the emptiness of the mind, analyze that the present moment, which is the frame of reference for the 3 times, past, present, future, is not findable. And analyze the mind's deceptivity of experiencing its object. Through close analysis, one realizes that the mind cannot discern an object that it thinks it is discerning or experiencing due to the object's fast-moving transitoriness. The following verses may be used during the meditations on the emptiness of the self and the mind. Arjun's precious garland. If the person is not earth, not water, not fire, not air, not space, not also consciousness, not all of them, where is the person out of those? Just as a person is not truly existent because of being an aggregation of 6 constituents, so each constituent also is not truly existent as the aggregation of their own constituents. Arjun's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Neither the aggregates nor different from the aggregates. The aggregates don't depend on him, nor is he dependent on them. The Tathagata does not possess aggregates. What is the Tathagata? Bhikkhuni Vajira's utterance in a fundamental vehicle sutra. Just as one designates a card in dependence upon a collection of parts, so we assert the conventional sentient beings in dependence upon aggregates. Remark number 3. Repeatedly recite the above verses as often as possible in order to abide in the experience of emptiness, which obtained from question 8 and remark 1b, both in meditation as well as in post-meditation. Recite the sacred verses from sutras and other compositions on emptiness by Indian saints to reinforce your experience, referred to page 208 and 214. This practice is the essence that gives profound meaning to your whole life. Make sure you do not lose the regularity of this practice by doing it on a daily basis. Remark 4. In all moments of your waking state, try to be mindful to the best of your ability that everything that is the 3 spheres of the actions is dreamlike. Objects you are interacting with, you as the agent who is interacting, and the agent of the interaction itself, All these three lack true objective reality. Yet to a mind, they deceptively appear to exist from their own side that is truly existent in all moments of the waking state, as well as during sleep and while dreaming. Remember the verses from Buddha Sutras, such as the ones given above and below, as will help you to engage in daily activities with mindfulness and awareness that everything you encounter is dreamlike. As advised by Lama Tsongkhapa in Lamrim Chemo, engage in all virtuous actions by seeing them in the light of day, dream-like nature. This helps us accumulate the true collections of the merited wisdom from all the actions that one engages in throughout one's life. Upalika Sutra. The various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme golden ebos stand so alluring. For none of these is their creator, they are passed by the power of thought. A true conceptualization that the world is imputed. King of Constitution Sutra. Just as in a dream of a young girl, she met with a boy and saw his death. Joyous was she at the meeting, and anguish at his death. We all phenomena as thus. Rain shower of feeds. A song of the four mindfulnesses is a guide to the view of the middle way by His Holiness Gelsen Gyatso, the seventh Dalai Lama. At the crossroads of six collections of consciousness, which this is after you get experience of emptiness, then you see that nothing is really truly there. And then if they are not really there, still they appear, they are like illusion. So it is like, say, you're at the crossroad. You see many cars, many people. So see that they're all like magical illusion. So they cross like the crossroad of the six consciousnesses. They are like the six different roads: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, mental consciousness. So whatever appears, they all appear as truly real, and see that they're all illusion-like. Okay. At the crossroads of the six collections of consciousness, which have diverse perceptions, are seen the hazy, dualistic phenomena which are based as there's a magical show that is by nature deceptive. Don't believe it to be true, but view it as having the nature of emptiness. Don't let your mind go astray, but place it in the nature of appearance emptiness. Through not losing mindfulness, hold in the nature of appearance emptiness. Remark 6. You should not give in to the ignorance grasping true existence anymore. Dispel the darkness of ignorance from your mind and the minds of all dear Mother Sentient beings by sharing this light of the wisdom of emptiness with others. It is better that we do not waste our precious time and rather engage in the urgent mission of bringing unconditional happiness and peace to all our mothers and to ourselves. Concluding the day with the meditation of emptiness and sealing the day's virtuous practices with prayers should be profoundly helpful. Remark 7. After gaining some understanding of how things exist subjectively and are devoid of objective existence, it is beneficial to think of the dependent nature of phenomena in terms of mutuality of dependence, of cause and effect, labels and labeled, characteristics and the characterized, the mind and its objects, the whole in parts, big and small, and so forth. Okay. Direction prayer. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origin in particular, even across my life. Okay, good. Okay, now we will do the last part. Okay. I think we read this one. Whoever is the seer of one entity is said with the seer of all entities. Page 131. In English, page 131. The second paragraph, which the 400 verses said, whoever is the seer of one entity is said to be the seer of all entities. Whatever is the emptiness of one is the emptiness of all. The mind that is properly placed in equipoise in reality is indeed completely free from elaborations with respect to samsara and nirvana, such existence, non-existence, so on. Once you have risen from that equipoise, when you investigate, you see that although agent, action, and dependent origination exists merely through being imputed with a name. Instead of name, go for label. With the label, they still undeniably appear like a dream. So although they are empty of true existence, they continue to appear like a dream. A visual distortion. Instead of visual distortion, write it, illusion. illusion. And the moon's reflection on water and a mirage. When for you, appearances do not obscure emptiness. Okay, so there are the same things continue to appear, and yet things are empty of true existence. Appear means subject. Empty means from the object is empty. From the object empty, but from the subject it appears. So there should be no contradiction. Whereas we, oftentimes we have, when some say nothing is coming from the object, it's all mental projection, then you come up with some contradiction there. So which means that your understanding is not complete. So it says, when for you, appearances do not obscure emptiness. The appearances, things they appear, and do not obscure, meaning they don't contradict with the emptiness. Yes, appearance is purely subjective. Emptiness from the object is empty. There's no contradiction. And emptiness does not obscure appearance. So from the object is empty, but from the subject, appearances happen. There's no contradiction. Whereas if you see the contradiction, but what is that? So when I was in the monastery, when we were studying emptiness, my juniors, some of them, they would, we would discuss. This is the beauty of the monastery universities, where the monks, young monks, they study and reflect, meditate, and they would debate with the seniors. So my juniors, they would come to my room, and then we would come together. Then I would explain, ask questions to them, they give an answer, and I would say that everything is coming from the mind. Then they would say, what is this if everything is coming from mind? Some juniors. What is this? Okay. So then, in their mind, they feel some contradiction there. This, what we can appear, it appears. And how can that be empty of objective reality? So when you feel that this is the contradiction that you are seeing, still you need to go deeper into emptiness to reflect, study more, reflect more. So over time, you see that there's no contradiction. Not only that there's no contradiction, because things are empty of objective existence, therefore things should exist. Things should exist subjectively, and the cause-effect relationship becomes so smooth and infallible. Infallible, undeniable, invariably, the cause-effect operates without any contradiction. So when you see that, that is the time when you are now getting close to emptiness. This is what the Arya Nagarjuna said. Having seen emptiness and still conforms to the law of karma, that is amazement of all amazements, and this is wonder of all the wonders. Okay, somebody who can see emptiness at the same time respect the law of karma even more, that is the indication that the person has truly understood emptiness. Okay. When for you, appearances do not obscure emptiness, and emptiness does not obscure appearance, the noble part of the emptiness, dependent origination, having the same meaning, will manifest. That emptiness and dependent origination, if you remember what we did last time, the emptiness equals dependent origination. Dependent origination equals the middle way. Therefore, emptiness equals the middle way. We did this. Okay. This is what we should finally get to. Finally, call upon and dedication. These words were written by the renunciate, meaning a monk. The Bhikshu Losang Chugi Gyaltsen, the most venerable Losang Chugi Gyaltsen, amazing, great, enlightened being, who has heard many teachings. Through this merit, may all wandering beings, meaning all sentient beings. Why sentient beings are referred to as wandering beings? Because they wander around the samsara. Yeah, wandering beings quickly become conquerors. Conquerors meaning Buddhas. Become Buddhas. Through this path, there is only one door to liberation. This is the only way, wisdom of emptiness. Having seen that the 8 worldly concerns are like the drama of lunatics. Lunatics meaning crazy person. Crazy person, then they say somebody who's hallucinating. So 8 mundane concerns, they are like hallucination with respect to somebody who is samsaric beings. The author is describing the 2 of the main students, who are so advanced in the meditation, the Dhamma practice, and who have seen that the eight worldly concerns, they are like the drama of the lunatics. Gendun Gensen, with the degree of the 10 fields of knowledge, it simply means Niju Ramjamba. Niju Ramjamba Gendun Gensen. This is his title. So his title, let's put it first, Niju Ramjamba Gendun Gelsen. And Sherab Singhi. And again, instead of Sherab Singhi, let's say Kajuba Sherab Singhi. Kajuba means with the degree of the 10 difficult subject. So it should not be translated like this. The best is Kajuba Sherab Singhi. And people ask, what is Kajuba? Kajuba is his title. For example, we say His Majesty or His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Okay. The Kajuba Sherab Singhi from Hardong. They live according to the conduct of rishis. Rishis meaning the saints. Two of them who live their life in the conduct of the great saints in isolated mountains, in solitude, on mountain valleys, and take this path as the essence of their practice. And they had already urged me many times to introduce Mahamoudra in this way. And there's one small section missing here. The translation. Missing here. The if you remind me later, I will do all this and give them to you. So one's missing. This is not important, but it says that there are many other students of mine meaning Venerable Benjalo Sanchuyin, the author. Many other students of Benjalo Sanchuyin, the author, of the students who are so keen to practice the Mahamoudra, they also made the request. Then in particular, the great master Lama Ensapa, after explaining all these things, he said that this Mahamoudra teaching will not be written down or maintained a written record. No written record. But Benjalo Sanchuyin said that I'm going to keep the written record. This is what he's saying here. Okay, let's read it. In particular, the great Ensapa himself, the omniscient conqueror and lord of masters with attainments, has said, I've written an explanation similar to the Lamrim of the Katamba, starting from the proper way to rely on the spiritual master up to come about an insight in a song of realization as advice for myself and others, without including at the end, this part that has just been explained, I am not able to write down. This is what Lama Ensapa said. I'm not going to write this down. What he taught, he said, I'm not going to. Lama Ensapa, another teacher, write down the ultimate instruction of the Mahamoudra that is not well known in the land of snows. Okay, so this is Lama Ensapa's quote. Then the author of this text, Lama Benjalo Sanchuyin, he said that what was not written down at that time, during the time of Lama Ensapa, due to restrictions as intended for a later time, this is understood by an assertion that is established, for example, by the statement in the Lotus Sutra, since it is an object to be thoroughly realized by the pristine wisdom of a Buddha. Never tell those who take it upon themselves to write of this method that you are enlightened. Why? Because those who act as our refuge take timing into consideration. I, the author Lobsang Chuyi Gyaltsen, who upholds the immaculate instruction of Sutra and Tantra and the undefiled stream of blessings of those who actually practice this path, have also become the part of this lineage, starting from the unparalleled teacher, the king of the Shakyas, the Buddha Shakyamuni, all the way down to my own root guru, Venerable Sangye Ishe, who knows again, this is his epithet or his title, that the omniscient Sangye Ishe, this omniscient, the translator who knows everything. So this is just the title. It should go the first. Omniscient, Venerable Omniscient Sangye Ishe, and who's his Sangye Ishe. Without introducing impurities of Samaya, I composed this text in Ganden number Gelwe Ling. Okay. So if somebody can go to call the Magale and the Patricia, I will quickly read the Tibetan Tibetan or the English? Tibetan. Yeah. Teata Om Gade Gade Paragade Samgate Bodhi Swaha Teata Om Gade Gade Paragade Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. Okay, you ready? Patricia? Okay. I'm reading the Tibetan text as the old transmission. Kendega Yurimboji Chachin Sawa Yebe Shunam Shechawa Shuso Namo Mahamoudra ya Kunjab Kungiran Shinchagashi Yemen Juri Singu Dujing Jembar Duze Kyabda Dubeji Lame Shalo Kubetu Dojumenga Jesu Judune Lebar Domze Gendenga Yuba Josho Dama Banza Yapsegi Kasu Chagachimbu Tambati Dila Jungun Jusune Tambo Denda Tejana Jube Koda Shunshinchi Kazam Cesar Mayimbe Kemro Simbi Nendencha Simge Chunye Tumwayan Sosa Dujanga Dune Yigya Bumzam Tungshani Gaja Kamangwandane Tusum Sangye Tamjada Yemen Sawa Lamada Nina Soa Nime Sude Bihayan Cha Mushi Chaga Chambola Shizu Mando Donayan Donga Yebe Nisude Nisuye Chima Doji Lunye La Shendu Nedu Nisu Takele Chume Deji Sela Sarahada Durusha Naro Miti Chajende Andrew Mingone Tembayin, Lamegude, Yang Yin. Mama getting Dusungi, Mueden Tony Gomsude, Dele Shimba Tarbella, Major Pajulu Song, Dineti, Combustion Chaya Chimbu, Chipote, Simgon Water Chibus, Gundelame Sunshin, Tenji Gyoju, Kaoma, Maderomi Yigishi, Shichu, Zoshandang, Umetari, La Soba, Soso Minto, Manayang, Yedunuri, Lakebe, Yamyonching, Ninjobe, Jena Gomba Chidupa. Tena de la Tatone, Combasuda, Comtone, Tawa Sube Lunile, Dine Shime Lushin in Samden de Vetebola Lune Dundan, Denchela, Nuroguru Taduse, Riba Tanshi, Lebarche, Nanda Givesim de Bekemdo Simgi Undu Tang, Samlalame Ninjurkum, Shura Sunde Gasoso, Chenalama Ranatim. No one been Tandela, Redola Sonamdoki. Chejo Hayami Sheba Yume Junsen Yabarsho, Geda Nilo Tabui, Yekaba Mayimba. Mayan Tembe Jansusu, Guari Peshindo, Region 7 Walla, Shilgit Timla, Chilgit, Namdo Hana Hanjaba, Tedan Tin Sinja, Yanare Gorkin Shindo, Namdo Chige Bebechu. Jeda Nebati is a Timbo Mashul Hugil, Shimgi Timla, Hugil, Simgi Josa Tenata, Sheda Shian, Chiketum, Jurbu Jimbe Simini, Luna Trova Tisum, Jesum Padra Maing Lu, Namdo Kanjing Walla, Desi Ryan, Don Sancher, Desi Rangil Don Sancher, Tishinese Tabana, Madip Tonse Shigeva. Tomaniku Debashi, Tashi, Namdo Jigam, Migo Guan, Wessimbra, Chede Di, Ola, Jobas, Zingi, Chazuni, Puri Bedan Sumbayin. Chida Sine Purve Charoni, Chono Kone, Lion Terapapshin. Shebaji Shinjambale, Yamshan Kangi, Matic Tanshi Sevatan, Sujin Kando Majube, Donsa Nambada Bodan, Jian Chabe, Shigeva, Teda Single Chuni, Musum Hagi Tomegang, Disha Sunshi Tendome, Kanshazime, 간샤즈면 후버죠 디네 상계 발장수 되베 담아 이노시 땡상 카리 검침바 배질 공부 지기 독 대단하게 수되니 담볼 리진 셈네밤 주변 매중 탑게당 생규 군소모 저수 인시 추기 견세마 땡괴 되네 생규 중에다 오저 제다 저수 상계 넘게 이시고 몸에지메 수소네 달로 몸베 메세베 자외람에 시담고 아기 냠샤 아니래 미여 담배 추난도 제다니 중 초바들 참여시베 공바베 기비랑신 장버다 파바도 줍겸이기 기부 사면 초마이 메메로미 남파면 남시에만 유구면나 대레신데 기부감도 두배지 연다면 지다마 대신 감내를 안 두지 연다니 되면 손바지신 세변나 냠샤 냠버 조긴소 두전섬에 많이 바테세 이메 제주도 남파도 냠샤경 야나 냠버 샤베가 소소마도 동상에 되면 나소 차신초 감에시신 리베균 체범매버 주베심 되면 나신 젠바인 신유 공부 시원해 균당 소시 차원이 차원마소 신도준 시송 롱다리 바인 난수다도 마주베 마한도 세직 냠버쇼 도나다게 기베시 된다된베 탐지기 상계 이시 시원에 강샤남도 zemba 용레나 된담 추인샤나 되메처라 샤르뱅 안도 리바 슈발라 제진냠버 조바 에마호 시순데 시순 대신 담배장 동백안도 리베 동거자 다와라 투도메토 땡리밤 시소 공바지도네 제네 차진 공발에 중배 남과 지시바 두숨게소 개치체 라메천주 치모로 대달금네 추주기 초주기 요도 나와지신 남수 시모 도시다 내수 제벌 상기처를 강실 문진 답변에 도나람선 라소바 강가나베 된데니 마진 대대 내수대 네버키라 다도 경 대다르시네 코데기 최근한 시치도 저 되게 동양 파발에 오버지게 따보가 되는 군게 따보시 지게 돈이 강연바 되는 군게 돈이인 시선 대다 중이나 수십 년발 사병으로 유명해서 코데기 저배 타단 제맥이 텔레란에 따베세 민간 따위 점식이 자체된 유명해버 미럼 미규 춘다다 교마더블응하게 쳐 나와 동바마 디진 동배 나와 미고바 동다 땡중 된집에 남산티즈 운숨규 되게 마와 망퇴 봉아바 로산 측이 견제 시차대 개회 조근 시곤 이바타 대외 남대 유도 개규지 제 자가시면 오히려 지수대야 디난게 최적이 인연배도 가르 따라 통해 벤베르 수도 장성기 주주기 돈에 람들은 냠네 님보 제바 내주 람장바 견도인 괜찮다 함동 거주바 시럽 생기니기 마모네 양양 귀신 신양에 된 차진기 냠네 제벌 되베 랑게 로마 망베 굴바타 케바 지두베 원조 탐제 케바 기회 게로 연사바 전부 디니기 라시는 돈바스베 님고시도 신이 된수네 시라게 바로 까듬 람림 따르 담님 조도 시마타벨람 디마힘바 대대 강신발로 마차베 차게심에 담아 터도바 다다 이길 거발 미니소 셰티디 가제원기 미거바 치 되나 공바 베나 담주베가도 산기 시라도 도시칠 탑디 란중기니 제교기 대담 나 대담남의 계좌 상계수 유로 신의 남의 미송어 지치를 시는 교바투스의 시에송보다 더외 시버주베 치를 뜸바 냐면 세계 기본에 손대 다기 자발마 탐제 긴지 쓰바 상계 시식의 시간에게 para 람드 무슨도 투 양수 따르 진업의 규바 만염신 탐지러스 셀마슈베 리수 중심 도주 담배 명화진배 봉어버 로산슈기 견제기 견든 넘버 기벨도 잡어 셈 we finished okay we will just auspicious at the first few lines 견대가 주를 보죠 자기 자진 자와기 외중놈 제저 주소 나무 마야나 마하무드라야 군접군거라 지지가지 예면 주를 승교 도지인 지마도제 캬다 주베지 라메 담에 라메 샤도 쿠베 도교명아 계속 주드네 내바든제 견데 Kajubajo, Dharmabanza Yevseki, Kasu Chagachim Betambati, Dilojung Josum Ne, Tamoten, Tejan, Jubigo, the Shunshin, Kazans, Kazan Sizamain, became to Simgit and then Cha. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so before we conclude this, so there's some preflex here. So I like to give this to each one of you, the preflex, and just take it as what do you call it, as a memory from this meditation. Okay, come one by one, just come. We will do a short dedication prayer. So because today also we have the NCC, plus we have tomorrow's puja. Yeah. Okay, where's the dedication? Oh, page 288. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful generosity, Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manchuria and some about the true realized things they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the direction praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appear in 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva states. Chanjo Sanjo Rambo Jaya Magya Banam Ke Gyoroche Ke Ba Nyam Ba Me Ba Yang Kone Kondo Pe Varai Shoho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta, there is no arisen and rising grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the spirit of Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into the enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization that is in the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I, in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the mind and vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspicious and proliferate in all the places where we abide. The power of union of emptiness compassion is loosely explained by the protector Buddha Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus soul of Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces of humans or non-humans who help our members through perverted prayers against the teachings of Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the 3 jewels. In all my lives, never separate from the perfect Gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing qualities of stages and paths, may quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of independent origin in particular, even across my life. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasam Gate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata get through prostrations.